Recording started.
Tori, that's okay. If you can't get it set up, no worries. Chat box is just as good. As long as I have you answering and participating, I'm going to be happy. So don't stress out about it. And Mohan, I know you've been trying to get on with your cell phone. Sometimes I have trouble logging in with mine. Yes, because my signal's too low. I don't have enough bars. So no worries. Okay, we have about 6 minutes. So Colin and Tori, for the collaboration, we're going to actually be creating notes together as a group. So make sure you have like a blank file open on your computer that you can either type out some notes on, or you could do it the old-fashioned way and do it on a notebook. But either way, you're going to be sending that file to your teacher so you can get credit for the collaboration so that they know you attended tonight. All right, so usually the file typing it out is easier because if you don't type it and you handwrite it, you're going to have to like take a picture or scan it and then upload it to your course. All right, and I have the chat box open, so if you need any help with anything or you have any questions, just feel free to chat it to me. Colin, if you did the collaboration product already, did you do the collaboration reflection? Did you submit that one? Because there's 2 assignments that you get credit for if you attend one of, okay. So then you wouldn't need to submit your notes. You would just sit through the final exam review, kind of like in regular school where you might have a review so you know what to expect and so you're prepared for your exam. And then you could still take notes because you're going to get to use them on your final, but you don't need to submit it. You don't need to resubmit that assignment if you already did well on it. Welcome, Abdallah. How are you? We're getting ready to get started in about 4 minutes. And if you happen to have a microphone or a cell phone handy, I'm trying to get as many of you guys as I can to use the mic tonight. So you can either, in green on the screen, it shows you how to set up your mic if you happen to have a mic like I do with a headset. Or you could also use your phone as a microphone and you can follow the steps and call into the conference number. And we're going to get started just shortly. Abdallah, I was telling everybody we're going to be doing the final exam review, so make sure you have a blank file where you're going to be able to take some notes for the final exam review because that's what we're going to be submitting to your teacher so that they know you were here tonight. And that's okay if you don't have a mic. I'm a little bit bummed. Last week I had lots of students talking to me. It was kind of fun, but that's okay too. You're just going to have to make sure you participate a lot, writing in the chat box, and also you're going to have the opportunity to write on the actual whiteboard. Mohan, do you have your screen full-sized view? Like is the window for the Blackboard completely open, as large as you can get it? Because you're not on your phone, right? You're on a regular computer. Okay, yeah, I'm not sure. There's not in Blackboard, there's not like a zoom button or anything like that. So I'm not really quite sure what you can do with that. I can see your messages to me perfectly fine. And that's what I'm going to need to see. So just make sure. What about the PowerPoint up in front of you on the whiteboard? Can you see that? Does that look normal to you? It's big enough to read? Okay, perfect. Oh, okay, so I figured it out. I'm always learning in here with you guys. So if you go to the chat box and you look up on the actual chat window where it says chat. On the right-hand corner of that small window, there's like another little icon. Looks like a bunch of squiggly lines. If you click on it, it's going to give you a pull-down menu. And one of the options is to increase your font size, Mohan. So try to see if that works, and hopefully it does. So Tori, we're going to be working on answering everything together because you're going to be participating a lot, but you're going to be taking your own notes as you go. But we're all going to be working together to get those notes completed. You're all going to be contributing to them. Hi, Barbara. It's Miss Gilman. I'm one of the Hope teachers here. We're going to be starting in about 30 seconds, so you had perfect timing. And I see that you're on your phone, so you are going to need to participate a lot tonight. And you could either participate using the mic on your phone to talk, or you can just type it in the chat box. Unfortunately, on your phone, I think you're going to probably have a hard time writing and answering things on the whiteboard. So if you ever have problems doing that, just make sure you put your answer in the chat box so I can see it. All right, so let's get started real quick. So not a big group tonight. So I'm thinking, is anybody on spring break this week? Maybe that's why we don't have a lot of people. They're having too much fun. So who's on spring break? So Gabby had it last week. Colin's not. Tori had it last week. Okay, maybe everybody's just recovering from spring break then and trying to get back into the swing of things. I know I have a couple of students who had spring break a little bit late. So, well, all right, well, thank you for coming and hanging out with me for our 7 o'clock session. My name's Miss Gilman. I'm one of the many Hope teachers here, and I'm going to be leading your collaboration session tonight. So, like I said, if you would like to use a microphone, I think Barbara's the only one who has it. Barbara, in case you don't know where the microphone is on your cell phone, up on the screen it's showing you just press the little button that actually looks like a microphone. All right, so you'll press it once to talk, and then you'll press it again to kind of hang it up so that I don't hear you talking in the background. All right, but like I said, it's encouraged, but it's not a requirement. As long as you're participating in the chat box and you're writing on the board when I ask you to, I'm happy. All right, so for those of you who are new, give me a little smiley face if this is your first time to a live lesson. Okay, so Tori's new. Oh, Barbara's new, and you figured out how to log into on your phone, so that's good. It took me a couple times to figure that out. Okay, so we have a lot of newbies. All right, so don't be intimidated. It's not scary to use the whiteboard, okay? You're not going to press a button and it's going to explode, or, you know, fire's going to start coming out of your computer or anything. Most of you have already found the chat box, so that's the best way to answer questions and ask me questions. And then I just gave you your tools. So up to the right of the chat box, you should see a vertical toolbar. It has a bunch of different tools that we're going to talk about. All right, so let's kind of start up at the top. You have a talk button if you wanted to talk on the mic. Yay, don't be shy. All right, and then you also have some little icons above where the participants list is. So you have one where you could pick different emoticons. So there's like an applause in there, there's a happy face, a sad face, and then the one next to it has a little face with a timer on it. So if you ever need to step away from the session, like let's say you get a phone call or your mom's yelling at you to do the dishes, you can just click on that. All right, and then there's a hand. That is to raise your hand. Yes, there you go. But I'm going to actually go against what all teachers tell you in regular school. So, you know, in regular school, they want you to raise your hand. I do not want you to use that because it like gives me like seizures. It gives me like a nervous tick. So if you have a question, just type it in the chat box. And usually when I'm done talking and I take a breath, I look to see, you know, who has questions and I stop and I answer it. Okay, and then next to the raising your hand icon, you'll see another little box. That is a polling feature. So I'm able to ask you different questions and ask you to pick, a check or an X, or sometimes it might be, pick A, B, C, or D, and that's where you'll go to. All right. You also have the participants list, so you can see who's in here. So you could say hi to Abdallah and Barbara. Welcome, Samira. Evan snuck in too. So we have a couple new people. You know where the chat box is. That's down in the bottom left-hand corner. And then let's talk about these vertical buttons, because that's how you're going to type on the whiteboard. Okay, so in order to actually type, okay, nicely, you're going to pick the box that has an A with 3 lines next to it. It's going to let you pick a color that you want to type in, a font, and then a font size. All right, so I'm going to test you to see if you can find this button and make it work. So what I want you to write on my whiteboard, tell me what you did for spring break. That's what I want to know about you right now. Tell me what you did for spring break, and go ahead and write it up on the board. So this is your first test. Oh, so if you are writing like a 5-year-old on my screen, it's because you picked the crayon. So you picked the one above it that looks like a crayon. And I have little kids, so I'm pretty good at reading this writing, but it can be sloppy. So I want you to make sure that you pick the right one so that we have a nice, neat whiteboard. And I want you to pick the one that has an A with 3 lines next to it. So it's actually the 4th button down from the top. And right, Barbara, you're not going to be able to write on the screen. You're right. So you could just put it in the chat box. Whenever I ask you to write on the screen, you're just going to have to put it on the chat box. So Tori, were you able to find the button on how to type? Okay. So you figured it out? You clicked on it, and then you just click on the actual screen, and then you'll be able to type it out. And Evan, if you're also on your phone, you're not going to be able to write on the whiteboard. So you could just kind of answer in the chat box. All right, Tori. So good. So we have cruises. So Colin went on a cruise, so good. So that sounds like fun. Hopefully you went somewhere nice and didn't get a lot of rain. Who went to Miami? So good. So we have somebody who went to Miami. Samara worked and took care of your family, so that was nice of you, Samara. Gabby swam in your pool, so I'm jealous. I would love a pool right now. All right, so good. So nice job. So we're going to move on. Okay, so today we are going to be doing, we're going to be reviewing for the final exam for segment 1. Okay, and you're going to get credit for the collaboration assignment if you need it. Okay, if you already did the collaboration, then you can just kind of sit through the exam review so that you're better prepared to do that exam. All right, so I'm calling this exam review Superhero Training 101, and you're going to find out in a few minutes why I'm calling it that. All right, so in case you don't know what a collaboration is when a group of people get together and work on a project together. You are going to be using a lot of skills that you would normally use when you need teamwork. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be working together as a group to create notes, and you guys are going to be answering different questions and helping each other out so that we have a really good cohesive notes to use. All right, so when you're done with the collaboration, in order to get credit for it, there's 2 assessments. They're the very first 2 assessments that you have in your assessment tab and your gradebook. One of them is called Collaboration Product. That is where you're going to submit your notes to, okay, so that your teacher knows that you were here and you're ready, to take the exam. And then you also have the Collaboration Reflection. And reflection, you need to write 4 to 5 sentences, just telling your teacher, how you think this session helped you, what you liked and you didn't like, and why you think it's important to be able to collaborate with other people, because you're going to collaborate in other areas of your life. All right, so any questions on what you need to submit to your teacher to get credit for being here tonight before I move on? And Mohan, I didn't mean to skip you. Your chat box is working. I can see what you wrote to me. So you can go ahead and type it in the chat box when you have questions and answers. All right, so good. Also, our exam review is going to focus on these 4 standards. Okay, so we're going to be talking a lot about the benefits of exercise. We're also going to be talking about the different training principles that you learn, sport and fit, consequences of poor behaviors like smoking, okay, and then different behaviors to avoid to make sure you're not going to harm your health. All right, so Mohan, what do you mean you can't see anything? Can you not see the PowerPoint on the screen? Okay, well, I'm not putting anything in the chat box, so you don't need to worry about that. You just need to focus on what's on the actual whiteboard. Okay, Abdallah, you can't see the PowerPoint. Gabby and everybody else, are you guys able to see the PowerPoint? Okay, so Abdallah, you are on a regular computer, right? Okay, so what does your screen look like? Is it blank? Does it have anything on it? It's blank. Okay. I'm going to send out a copy of my PowerPoint so that you have it. However, you may want to log out and then try to log back in, Abdallah. If you still can't see it, if you look on the main page of your teacher's course, there's a tech support number there. It might have something to do with your computer settings. Okay. All right. So before we go any farther, I just want to cover a couple of basic rules that I have for my students. So in our class, okay, remember we're a team. We're working together as a team. We need to make sure we respect each other. We take risks, and that just means, sharing your experiences, answering, not being afraid to participate. Learn from our mistakes. So if you maybe have a wrong answer, don't feel bad about it. All right, just try your best. We're going to create our notes together, dream big, and then help everybody celebrate success at the end of this for being here. Okay. All right, so now you know why I called it superhero training. So what I want from you is, if you could be any superhero, which one would you be? So what I want you to do is just type your name on the picture of the superhero you would pick, or if you can't type on the whiteboard, you can go ahead and just type in the chat box. Just put which superhero you like. And if I didn't find the superhero that you love and he's not up here on the screen or she's not up here on the screen, you can still add yours. All right, so some of these you might not even know. Some of these I wasn't too sure about, but you have Aquaman, Superman, The Flash, Thor, you have Groot. Barbara wants to be Batwoman. Okay. Abdallah, Superman. So you could fly and have X-ray vision. Good. Evan would be Iron Man. Colin would be Flash. So I honestly, Colin, did not know who Flash was until I just watched a TV show, I think on like the CW. So Mohan would be Iron Man too. Tori would be Captain America. So good. I'm surprised we don't have any of the Incredible Hulk. Mohan, I'm with you there. I would be Spider-Man if I could pick. So good. All right. So throughout this exam, we are actually going to be training and learning on how to be superheroes. So let's talk, before I talk more about that, I just want to go over what to expect with your exam, and then we're going to start covering your exam information. Okay, so the exam format, you're going to be taking it from your computer. Okay, so you don't need to go to any place. You take it from your computer just like you've been doing the rest of your assignments. There are about 40 to 50 multiple choice questions. At the very end, there's a few short answer questions that you're going to need to read and type out an answer to. All right. And it's password protected. So you are going to need to get the password from your teacher. And you need to make sure that you have all of your work submitted, okay, including your DBAs, all of your wellness plans, and you need to pass your wellness plans. Okay, you need to have a passing grade on them. You need to have a passing grade on your DBAs. And then once you think you're ready to take your exam and you're happy with your grade, then you're going to text or email your teacher and ask for your password. Okay. Like I had said earlier, you are going to get to use your notes and your study guides. That's why this is important. Okay. And when you're taking your exam, you do need to finish it in one sitting. You have as much time as you need. Most students, it takes about an hour and a half or so to finish, but you can't exit out of the exam and then try to log back into it. All right. So you need to finish it in one sitting. All right. And then once you're done, just like any other exam that you take at school, you're going to go back and you're going to check your answers to make sure, you know, that you didn't skip anything and that you were okay with the ones that maybe you weren't too sure about. And then within 24 hours, teachers get really excited when you take your exam. So I know with my students, I like immediately grade it, and I usually text them or call them depending what time of day it is to let them know how they did. So your teacher will call you to let you know your final grade. Okay. So any questions about the exam format? I think it's pretty straightforward. All right. So sometimes students get locked out of their exams and they call panicking and they're all upset. Okay, so some of the things that cause your exam to lock up are if you use the back button. Okay, so make sure you don't use the back button. As I said before, don't log off and then try to log back in. And also, if you have other programs running, sometimes that can mess it up too. So you want to make sure that the only window that you have for the internet open is your final exam window. Don't have like 5 other windows open. Don't have your IM open and running. Okay, and then also obviously if your internet or your power goes out, you're going to lose your exam. So if any of those circumstances happen, just make sure you let your teacher know immediately, and your teacher will call and you guys will figure out, usually, you know, if it was an accident, your teacher's going to let you take it again, you know, so that you can pass the class. All right. You also need to, it's 60 is passing in case anybody has a question. That's a D. Anything below a 60 on the exam would be considered an F. All right. Okay, so here's where you're going to start your notes because we're going to be talking about the nitty-gritty important stuff about segment 1 that you're going to see on your exam. All right, and I put it in 10 steps. So it's my 10-step guide to becoming a Hope superhero. And you guys made it all this far, so you truly are superheroes because you're balancing everything else in your life with this course, and I know how hard that can be sometimes. All right, so the first step of being a superhero is focusing on your health-related fitness. Okay, so you learned about the 4 areas of health-related fitness, and these are the 4 areas that you focus on with your workouts and your wellness plans. Okay, so you have cardiovascular fitness, muscular fitness, flexibility, and body composition. And obviously when you perform all these different types of exercise, it's going to make you more resilient to stress and injury and different sicknesses and illnesses that you might get, like diabetes and heart disease, different back pains that you might get, or joint problems. Okay, so what I want you guys to do, we're going to work together. This is our first part of collaborating. And I want you each to pick a column, it doesn't matter which one, and I want you to start filling in these columns with activities that you could do to focus on each area. So for example, cardiovascular activity might be running. Okay, so that's all I'm looking for, different activities that would be for each of the 4 health-related components of fitness. And again, Evan and Barbara, if you can't type on the whiteboard, just go ahead and put it in the chat box. Okay, so Colin, you're still using the one that looks like a crayon on the whiteboard, so try to pick the A with the 3 lines next to it, and then it'll let you pick a font that you want to use and a color, and it should let you be able to type, just so it's a little bit more organized. She got some really great answers here. I'm surprised you can write this well with the mouse. Okay, so we're doing pretty good with the first 3 columns. Who wants to take a risk and put on some activities that would help with body composition? And I'm going to challenge you. I want to see at least 2 activities in there in that last one. All right, nice. Okay, so for cardio, we got a lot of good ones here. Running stairs would be good, stadium stairs, any type of running, basketball, baseball. Tennis is a good form of cardio, so good. Muscular fitness would be obviously lifting weights or doing body weight exercises. So yes, you could work your biceps and your thighs. So resistance training. Okay. Flexibility, yoga is a good one. They do work a lot on their flexibility in ballet and you know, doing basic stretches, your static and dynamic stretches that we're going to be talking about later on. All right, and body composition. So body composition, remember, tells us whether or not we're at a healthy body weight or not, whether we're going to be considered overweight, obese, or healthy, or even underweight. So any type of exercise is going to help us to control our body composition. And usually it's best if it's a combination of all of these types. So everything in here is correct. Push-ups, pull-ups, weight training. We want to add in some cardio exercise too. And you're right, BMI, body mass index, that takes your weight and your height. Mohannan also tells you whether or not you're at a healthy weight for your height so that you can start setting some goals for yourself. Okay, so Tori, I'm not quite sure why your screen's freezing up. It might just be your internet connection's a little bit slow. All right, so any questions on health-related fitness? So Sophia, body composition, that is basically the ratio of your lean muscle mass, so your muscle and your bones, compared to how much actual fat you have. So your lean tissue compared to your fat tissue. And obviously, the higher that ratio is, it means that you might be considered overweight. You might need to lose weight. So it's just an indicator of whether or not you need to lose weight, gain weight if you're at a healthy weight. All right, good job. All right, so this next one, benefits of exercise. So there's lots of different benefits for working out. So I want you guys to tell me how's exercising going to help improve your cardiovascular fitness? How's strength going to help improve yourself? Flexibility, and then exercise can also help your mental health, your social health. It can even help you do better in school. So I want you guys to help me fill this chart out with some benefits of exercise, how it's going to help you in all 4 of these areas. Yes, Barbara, good. It improves your mood. So that would be mental health. While you guys are doing that, I'm going to type out Barbara and Evan's information here. All right, Colin, you figured out how to type. Good. Knew we'd get it. Okay, just going to give you another minute or so. And once you have your answer put down there, feel free to start jotting some notes down on this slide. Sophia, I love that answer. Very specific. Less risk of heart diseases. Yes, like heart attacks, high cholesterol. Good. All right, so let's see. So cardio is a great stress reliever. So like running, biking, okay. Cardiovascular activity can help improve your body composition, does help improve your energy. So like if you have like a midday slump, mine's usually around 2 o'clock. Usually they tell you to get up and get active and get your blood pumping again so that you have a little bit more energy for the afternoon. Again, it's going to help you to stay safe from those heart diseases. It's going to decrease your risk of heart attacks, okay, and keeps you fit. So good. Muscular strength is going to help you to be stronger and allow you to do things easier. So let's say you're helping your friend lift some furniture. It's going to obviously be easier to lift those heavy things if you're stronger. And flexibility is important so that you're not going to get hurt or injured for exercise. But another benefit of flexibility is actually a good stress reliever as well. All right, and then exercise in general can improve your confidence, can help you keep focused, gives you energy again. Okay, so yeah, surprisingly, it can help you academically because it can help you stay focused. So a lot of times if you have a big exam coming up, especially if you're a little bit nervous too, they tell you to go get some exercise because one, it's going to help you manage that stress, and then two, it's going to get you more blood to your brain, so it's going to help you think and focus better. All right, so let's see how we did. Here's my big long list of benefits of exercise. All right, so this is straight from the course. And like I said, at the end of this, I am going to send you this PowerPoint so that you have it, so that you can include all of this in your notes if you'd like to. All right, just remember, your notes that you're sending to your teacher doesn't have to have everything on it. All right. So some of the important ones that you missed: cardiovascular exercise helps to improve your aerobic capacity. All right, it also is going to help to control your weight, and it's good for decreasing depression and anxiety. All right, muscular strength, an important one, is it increases your bone density. As you get older, your bones get brittle. That's why a lot of older people break bones. So when you strength train, it helps not just your muscles get stronger, but your bones as well. All right, and then flexibility, we hit on most of them. One of them that we didn't hit on in my other column for social is that you can make new friends. If you're active and you participate in sports and you go to the gym, you're going to probably find friends who have the same interests as you for being healthy. All right, so any questions on benefits of exercise? So Mohan, yes, you're taking notes on all this. And your notes is what you're going to send to your teacher at the end of this so they know you were at the collaboration. All right. Okay. So step 2 of being a good superhero, you need to have goals. Okay? And you need to set MAD goals. So MAD is an acronym, stands for measurable, attainable, and deadline driven. So on wellness plans all the time, my students forget to put this deadline. Okay? So if you don't have a deadline, how do you know if you ever achieved your goal or not? Okay, so you want it to be measurable. You want to know whether you can accomplish it or not. You want it to be attainable, something that you can do. You don't want to set your goal so high that you set yourself up for failure. A lot of times I see my students, they say, I want to run the mile in 3 minutes and 40 seconds. And I tell them, well, you should go join the Olympic team because I don't think there's anybody in the United States or the world that can run that fast. So make sure it's something that you can definitely do. and that you have a deadline. So if I say that I want to be able to run the mile in 7 minutes by the end of April, I'm going to know whether or not I did it or not. If I just say I want to run the mile in 7 minutes, I'm not really going to know when I'm going to get there. I mean, it can be when I'm 80 years old. All right. So I want each of you in the chat box, I want you to pick a goal that you have in your mind right now, and I'd like for you to share it with me. And the way that I want you to write it is I want you to write it so that it's measurable. It's something that you can actually do, and I want you to set up a deadline for yourself. And it can be any goal. You remember on your wellness plans, you had a physical goal, social goals, academic goals, and mental health goals. So there's lots of different areas that you could pick from. Just something that's important to you. All right, so Gabby wants to pass her next math test. That's next week. Okay, so good. Good luck with that. I'm horrible at math. All right, Evan would like to be a fighter in 4 years. Okay, so good. Got a lot of training to do for that. Tori, you're going to read 10 novels by the end of the school year and take tests on them. So I hope they're good novels. That's a lot of reading. So hopefully, I'm guessing that you love to read. Mohan, you want to participate in social service clubs whenever you get a chance. So Mohan, you have measurable and attainable, but that deadline, that get a chance, is not a deadline. Okay? Because then it's just going to kind of be hanging out there. You're going to be like, hey, I'll do it when I get to it. Okay? If you have a deadline and you know you have to get something done, you're going to do it. So make sure you put like an actual date at the end of that statement. All right, Barbara is going to work very hard in school to go to UC in California. How fun for her senior year. Sophia, play a new song on the piano by next week. Good. Colin, 4 A's and 2 B's on your next report card. So you're going to get that report card on a certain day and know that you did it. All right, and graduate May 2nd with your class. So good. Awesome, Mohan. Yes, your goal by the end of the semester. So that's definitely good. All right, and Samira would like to study for her AP World Final from the beginning of April to May. So that's good. You gave yourself a time frame. Awesome. So you guys get it. Okay, step 3 of being a Hope superhero, safety first, right? You don't want to end up getting hurt and needing to use this superhero first aid kit. All right, so I don't need to read all of these to you, but you do need to know for your exam ways of staying safe. Obviously, the most common ones are going to be warming up and cooling down, listening to your body. If something hurts, you're not going to continue doing it. You're going to back off and rest and recover. Dressing properly, having the proper equipment, staying hydrated so that you're not going to get heat exhaustion or heat stroke. All right, and then always making sure that you're using equipment properly and following the rules is going to help you to stay safe and uninjured too. So, any questions on safety? Okay, so here is a little pop quiz. I'm going to change my polling so that I can poll you, and you're going to pick A, B, C, or D. So why is it important to make sure that you're following different safety precautions? So the polling feature, again, is if you look above where all of our names are in the participants list, you'll see there's a little A in a box, and it'll let you pick A, B, C, or D. And you should be able to pick them even when you're on your phone. Okay, so I think it's unanimous. It's a D. Yes, you're right. So it's going to decrease risk of injury, help you make smart choices wherever you are, and it's going to make sure that you're not going to use, wrong equipment or equipment that doesn't fit. Good job. Okay, so step 4, you need to think about things when you're selecting an activity so that you stick with it. All right, so you want to think about whether the activity is going to be something you do as a part of your lifestyle or is it part of leisure? So do we have any athletes in here that actually play like sports? Tell me what sports you guys play. Okay, lots. So track and field, tennis, basketball, so good. So if you play a sport, that is part of your lifestyle. Okay. If you go to the gym every day like I do, okay, that's part of my lifestyle. But you could also do activities at leisure. So you might have, maybe on the weekends you go and you surf because you like to do it. Maybe you go and take a yoga class. Okay. So you want to decide how serious you are about your activity. Do you want to be competitive? Do you want to just do it for fun? Okay. Because if you're just looking for fun and you do a competitive sport, sometimes it could be overwhelming. It might be too much and then you might end up quitting. All right. You also need to think about finances, how much your activities cost, whether or not you could afford it, whether you would like to be part of a team or whether you just kind of want to be on your own and do your own thing. You want to think about your limitations. So what are some limitations that people might have that they might not be able to maybe play a sport or go to the gym or do normal activities? What are some limitations? Okay, injury, Good Samaritan, disability. So those are the most common ones. So they might need to adapt, different sports or activities so that they can still do it. But obviously, if let's say you have a shoulder injury, and you're not supposed to be rotating your shoulder at all, and you sign up for swimming, it's probably not going to be a good activity for you to do. And then obviously you want to consider your geographical location. If you want to go downhill skiing or ice skating, you can still do it somewhere in Florida, I'm sure, but it might be hard to find or challenging. All right, good job. All right, so step 5, you're going to utilize the principles of fitness. So sport and fit, you are going to see this on your exam. I can't stress that enough. Lots. So make sure you have a good understanding of these acronyms. Okay, I know it seems overwhelming to think about. It seems like a lot of them, but basically they are a set of guidelines that you need to think about when you're coming up with a workout plan so that your plan is safe, it's goal oriented, and it's effective. It's doing what you want it to do. All right, so I want you to fill in these blanks real quick if you know what these letters stand for, and then we're going to talk about them. All right, so you guys could each maybe pick a letter. Don't fight over them. Some of you may have already had to talk about these with your discussion-based assessments with your teachers. Awesome, Evan. I'm going to write that in for you since that's one that we don't have there. And also Tori. Okay, so we still have an O and an R. Who wants to take the O and the R on the Wheel of Fortune? Abdallah, good. You got all 4 of them there. Oh, and we have the first S too, so we're missing 3 of them. Overload. Good, Barbara. We'll stick that in there for you. Okay, anybody want to guess the S and the R? Glad we're talking about this tonight. Okay, good. So we got them all. Okay. So good guess. It's not a sequence. It's close. Specificity. So thank you, Abdallah, for helping her out with that one. So specificity. Big word. Took me about 2 years to be able to say it. All right. So if somebody wants to type that on the screen for me. Okay, so I'm going to start talking about each one of these. So the first S, specificity, all that means is that your workout plan needs to be specific to your goals. So if you're going to run a marathon, your plan needs to have lots of running in it, lots of exercises that are going to stretch and work the muscles that you're going to be using. Okay, you wouldn't say that you're going to go canoeing if you're training for a marathon. Progression just means that your plan is going to start off easy and safe, and as you get stronger and more in shape, you're going to slowly and gradually build on that, right? Overload actually goes along with fit, if you haven't figured that out yet. So overload means that you are challenging your body. So if you were to do the same workout every single day, eventually your body's going to get used to it and you're not going to see any benefits anymore. Okay, it's kind of your body's going to be like, okay, we're strong. I don't, you're not working me any harder than I need to be. So you need to overload it to create change in your body. And there's 4 ways that you could overload or make your workouts harder. Overload just means making it harder. And that's where the fit principle comes in. So the 4 ways that you can make your workouts more challenging: you could change the frequency, the number of days a week that you're working out, your intensity levels of your workout, the time, and the type. Okay. And then the R for sport is reversibility. That just means if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. So if you're working out, you're in great shape, and then all of a sudden you get lazy, when you return to your workouts again, you're going to struggle. You're not going to be as strong, and your cardio is not going to be as great as it had before you took that break. All right. And then the last T is actually tedium. All right. So does anybody know what tedium means? Because this is a word that I probably didn't know until I was in college. See if anybody wants to take a guess. Looks like Barbara's going to take a stab at it. Okay, so you're on the right track. Does somebody want to elaborate more? Barbara said it's about having fun with the sport. So want somebody to take it one step farther. All right, yes, Samara. So you want to change it up. So tedium means cross-training or changing it up so that 2 reasons. So you don't get bored and you keep having fun and you're going to want to keep doing your workout, but also so that you're working different muscles and you're not going to end up overtraining and get injured. All right, so good job. All right, so we are going to play Guess That Principle of Fitness. No, that would be a really horrible game. All right, but I want you to read through this first one here about Superman, and then we're going to talk about which principle from sport you think that it would be. All right, so not going to read it to you because I know you guys can read. So which of the 5 principles from sport do you think would apply to that little scenario about Superman hurting himself and having to take some time off? Okay, Jesse, you snuck in on me, but thank you. Yes, ding ding. So reversibility. So good. So what parts of this little paragraph here led you to believe that it was reversibility? Like from what you read here, like what could you pull out? What words, what statements led you to believe that? So having to take time to get back into shape. Good. So exactly. All right, so he's been on crutches and he needs some time to get back into shape. So perfect. Thank you for that. Okay, what about the second one? Let you read it. You guys are reading ahead of me. You're like me. When I was in school and my teacher was talking, I was like working on the next thing. Okay, so Thor's training for a Tough Mudder. He's been running a lot. He's been sore, and his coach told him that he should be doing some other activities. So those of you who said, let's see. So those of you who said tedium, Tori, Gabby, yes, you're right. So what part of that statement made you believe that it was tedium? Right, since he had to include different activities, trying, swimming, and biking. Okay. Okay, what about Wonder Woman? What's she doing? Gabby. Give a chance for everybody to read it. So Wonder Woman wants to lose weight and get stronger so she can kayak better. And her trainer told her that she needs to do cardio and upper body exercises so that they're focused on her goals. So yes, you guys, ding, 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 you're right. Specificity. So what part of that told you that it was specificity and not one of the other ones? Aligned with her goals, yes. Okay, all right. And then what about Batgirl? This last one. Right. Okay, so those of you said progression, and thank you. You guys beat me to it. You guys are awesome. So Jessie, yes, she's got to slowly build up how many miles she's running. So she's going to have a starting point and she's going to progress on it each week. All right, nice. Good job. All right, and then we're just going to talk about fit really quickly. So Marie is an avid runner. She's training for her first marathon, and she's currently running 4 to 5 times a week for 60 minutes, and she's making sure to keep her target heart rate zone between 120 and 160. So what part of this would be her frequency? What part of this would be the F in fit? We're going to pull this apart for the fit principle. Right, 4 to 5 times a week. Awesome, Abdallah. Samir, good. Good job. All right, what about intensity? This is one that challenges a lot of students on the exam. What part of this statement is going to be her intensity? Yes, her heart rate. So she's going to gauge her intensity level on her heart rate zone, because that's what your heart rate zone tells you. It's a way to measure your intensity level for your workout. Okay, time. That should be an easy one, 60 minutes. And then what type of workout is she doing? Running. Awesome. Okay, good. All right, so now we are going to talk about creating a plan that has all the components of health in it. Flexibility, strength training, cardio. Okay, because if you are a real superhero, you are going to be in super shape, right? Because you're going to be fighting crimes. You're going to have to, dodge bullets, beat up the bad guys. All right, so let's talk about a plan for flexibility first. Okay, so you learned that there was 4 types of flexibility. You have static, dynamic, isostatic, and ballistic that you're going to need to know about. So 2 of these are safer to do and recommended, static and dynamic. Usually your dynamic is going to be in the beginning of your workout, and then your static is going to be at the end. So who remembers what's the main difference between dynamic and static stretching? How are they different? Uh-oh, did I stump you? Don't be shy. Looks like a couple of you might have it. Okay, Colin, static might be a little bit harder. Let's see what Samira has to say. All right, so one's slow and one's fast, so good. So Barbara, you're right. So static stretching are the stretches where they're very controlled. For instance, you might be standing and you might bend down and touch your toes. You're going to hold it, and you usually count, 20 or 30 seconds. Okay, so there's no movement involved in it. All right, and then you'll have dynamic. which is the opposite. Dynamic means energy. And those are the ones where you are moving. So if you were to roll your head, in a circle to loosen it up, you do some shoulder shrugs, those are all dynamic. Walking lunges. So I want you to put in these boxes here for our superhero to do. I want you to just come up with a couple dynamic exercises that he can do as part of his warm-up, and then a couple of static stretches that you learned about in the course that he can do as his cool down. All right, and then I also want you to fill in his fit. How many times a week do you think he should do the workout? His intensity level would be how many sets of the exercise he's going to do and how long he's going to hold it for. And then how many minutes you think it should probably take him to do it. And then obviously the type is going to be stretching. All right. And just remember, isostatic and ballistic are also, stretching that requires a partner. Ballistic is when you bob, okay, but they are kind of I don't want to say dangerous, but they're easier to get hurt because you're not completely in control of the movement. So you can end up pulling a muscle. Okay, so for cool down, you can include walking and meditation for it, but what I'm looking for are actual static stretches that he can include at the end of his workout. All right, and we have curl ups, push ups. Okay, so I'm glad I did this because this is one area you're going to want to go back to look at your wellness plans. Okay, so you remember on some of your wellness plans in module 2 and 3, you had those charts you had a stretching chart and a strength training chart. All right, and it gave you different exercises that you had to come up with a plan for yourself. All right, you're going to want to make sure that you review those so that you know the differences. So like lifting weights isn't really going to be dynamic because your body's not ready to lift weights yet. Okay, if you were to do like body weight exercises like walking lunges and squats, those could be considered dynamic, but you definitely wouldn't want to have any weight on it at first. Okay, but arm circles would be a good dynamic stretch to do. Torso going side to side to loosen up your lower back, right? Leg swings where you're swinging your leg back and forth to loosen up your hip so you can go back and forth and side to side, right? And then static stretches are the ones that most of us are familiar with. We do them a lot in sports, okay? So like touching your toe and holding it, putting one arm across your chest and counting for, 5, 10, 15 seconds, depending on where you're starting with. All right, your goal should be at least 30 seconds. Okay, you could put it up behind your back. You could do a lower back twist where you're twisting it and you're holding it. All right, so make sure that you guys do look at some different exercises on your wellness plans and review that. So you put 7 days a week. They're going to do each one 3 times, and it should take about 60 minutes. So I would say to do them, maybe not 7 times a week. It's always good to take a day off, but 5 or 6 times a week. 3 sets, doing 3 of the exercises is good. And then 60 minutes. If you're just working on flexibility, 60 minutes would be good. But if you're just doing it as a warm up and a cool down, altogether, it might take you 20 minutes. Let's say you did 10 minutes for your warm up and 10 minutes for your cool down. So 60 minutes might be a little bit much unless you just want to have a workout that is all stretching and you're going to stretch every single muscle in your body. All right, so any questions about flexibility? No. All right. What about strength? So here's a goal. Flash wants to be able to run a marathon in under 30 seconds by July 1st. Okay, so I want you guys to pick some upper body exercises that he can do that's going to help him get strong to be able to run. And then also pick some lower body exercises that he can do to help him to get stronger to run. And then again, fill in the fit for me. He might be able to already run it. It might be a trick question. I wasn't sure what his record was, Tori. So I'm not too familiar with Flash. He was the only one that I knew that could probably run a marathon in under 30 seconds. So good, Evan. For his abs, he can do crunches. Okay, so that's a good example. And planks. So let's try to get one exercise for each of these muscle groups. Okay, good. Push-ups for his pecs. I'm stumping you guys, but this is good because you need to know this for the exam. What could you do? So biceps are the front part of your arm here. Bicep. So Abdallah, bicep curls aren't going to work your quads because your quads are your front of your thighs. So bicep curls work your biceps. So that was a trick question too. So I'm going to put that on the screen for you. Thank you. All right, so for lats, we have pull-ups. Lats are our back. Delts are our shoulders. You can do arm raises. Okay. Push-ups we're familiar with to work our pecs and our chest. Tries, lifting arm weights. So you could do a tricep extension, lifting it over your head. Okay. Abs is pretty good. I think we all know kind of abs. And then quads and hams, squats, leg circles, calf raises. Mountain climbers are good for your hip flexors. Your hip flexors are part of your quads. What about your glutes? What could you do for your glutes? What's a good, so if you don't know where your glutes is, that's your bottom. Bridges, yes, where you lay on your back and you're lifting your hips up off the floor. Perfect. You guys did awesome on this one. Make me so happy. All right, and then let's fill in fit real quick. So I want to try to get you out of here in about 10 minutes. So we're just going over a little bit. So 4 to 5 times a week, 3 times a week, 10, 25 minutes. Okay, so you guys did that. Okay, so I agree. I agree with the 3 times a week, just because he's going to be doing a lot of running, right? So he's got to fit that into his plan. So let's give him a couple days to do that too. And then 4 sets of 10. That's good. All right, and then 25 minutes. I think he probably could get through this little workout in 25 minutes, especially because he's Flash, right? He could do everything fast. For me, it might take me maybe 35 or 40 minutes because I'm old. So, all right, so good job. All right, what about his cardio? So, real quick, you are going to need to know how to figure out your target heart rate zone. So, this formula here is right from your course. I suggest definitely put it in your notes and practice doing it. I tell my students to do it at least once for everybody who lives in their household. So you're going to need to have their age and their resting heart rate to plug it in. And a good way to check your answer is to use a website, a target heart rate zone calculator. So once you've figured it out by hand, you can go to a website like the one that I'm going to bring you to right now, and you should see it up on your screen. It should say Calorie King Target Heart Rate Zone Calculator. So what I want you to do is you could enter your age and then your resting heart rate, and you could just take a guess, if you don't know your resting heart rate, just to test it out, and it'll tell you what your target heart rate zone is. Okay, and that's the intensity level that you should be working in when you're doing your cardiovascular workouts, just so that you know that you're in a safe zone, you're not overdoing it, but that you're getting benefits from the exercise. Okay, but so we're going to figure out Flash's target heart rate zone. Okay, so Flash, I said he was at least 28 years old. I don't know, he might be older than that or younger. And I said that his target heart rate zone was 50. All right, and I wonder why it's not working. Okay, so is your guys' not working when you plugged yours in? Did anybody get it to work? No. Okay. It worked when I actually did it before. I'm not sure. It might have been because maybe I already entered information. Okay, but you can use this. There's thousands of different, you could just Google target heart rate zone calculator. All right. And it'll let you check your answer against what you figured out by hand. All right. But when I figured out his resting heart rate zone, I'm going to actually put it in here, would be his intensity level. Okay, which was 120 to 165. So, tell me, just put it in the chat box, what are some good cardiovascular activities he could do if he's getting ready to do a marathon? Oh, good, Colin. I'm glad you got it to work. So it worked for some of us and not for others. So, what are some cardiovascular activities he could do? Okay, obviously running, yes. So that would be the principle of specificity. He needs to focus on running. So baseball, baseball is a fun activity that he could include, but I'm not sure. Baseball is not really a cardiovascular activity just because you run a very short distance and then you stop. So remember, in order for it to be cardiovascular, it needs to keep your heart rate up for an extended period of time. Usually they say anywhere above 15 to 20 minutes. All right. So stop and go activities like football and baseball might not really be too great of an activity to pick for this. So rowing, dancing, soccer, football, good. All right. And then how many days a week and for how long do you think he should be doing this in his target heart rate zone? Okay, good. Yeah, 3 to 4 days a week for about an hour. I would definitely say at least an hour if he's running a marathon. Good. Awesome. All right, so let's move on. Almost done. We're getting there. So, skill-related components. You're also definitely going to need these if you are a superhero because you're going to be doing a lot of leaping and bounding. All right, so the 7 of them here, I'm not going to read them to you, but make sure you do have them in your notes. Which skill-related component would Flash need to win all these races? Right, speed, how fast you can do something. All right. Um, what about Spider-Man? So he is kind of hovering on top of a building so that he doesn't fall over. Which skill-related component is he going to need to be able to make sure he doesn't fall when he's doing all of that jumping and climbing? Balance. So balance is your ability to stay upright so that you don't fall. Okay. Reaction time is how quickly you respond to something. So there is a little bit difference there, right? Somebody mentioned that Flash would need agility. So they're kind of related. So agility is not just how quickly you could do something. Agility is your ability to change direction and speed. So what types of sports might you need to change your direction and speed in a lot? Okay, right, football, soccer, basketball. In some instances, like if you were maybe running away from a dog, if a dog was chasing you, you might have to, get in. If you've ever gone Christmas shopping at the mall and you're in that traffic and you're trying to avoid people, you're going to be going in and out of traffic, changing your pace and your direction. So that's what agility is. Which skill is Hulk going to need to be able to Hulk smash? Power, yes, not to be confused with strength. So they're two different things. Power is not just how strong he is, it's how strong and how fast he can do something. So power is strength and speed combined. So if you were to lift somebody up and they were heavy and you try to do it really slow, you might have a hard time getting them off their feet. But if you went as quickly as you could and you tried to lift them up, that's power. It's explosive. It's going to be easier for you to get them off of their feet. All right. And then does anybody want to take a stab? What's coordination? Okay, archery, like arrow. Arrow's a superhero. Okay, so yes, so coordination is your ability to do multiple tasks at the same time using more than one sense. Okay, so you might use your eye and hand coordination. Um, if you're a bad dancer, it's usually because you have bad coordination. All right, so step 8, manage stress. So tell me either on the whiteboard or in the chat box. Tell me, like, what ways do you manage stress? What are some good ways to relax if you're feeling overwhelmed? Okay, so Samir, can you write that on the whiteboard for me? Counting to 10, that's a good one. I do that sometimes if I'm angry too. All right, sleeping, getting exercise, listening to some type of music that you enjoy. Writing is a good one. All right, talking with other people about what's going on. Sometimes it just feels good to get it off of your chest, taking a deep breath. All right, so it's really important to manage your stress because stress can lead to other issues like depression and anxiety, and it can, it can creep up into your life. Stress affects you really mentally, but if you don't take care of it, then it can start to affect you physically too. People who have a high amount of stress usually feel, their immune systems are low. They tend to get sicker. So you really do want to try to manage stress and nip it in the butt very quickly before it gets out of control. So good job. All right. So superheroes and you guys should also beware of risky behaviors. Okay. So here are 5 risky behaviors, the most common. So tell me a little bit, what are some consequences that might happen if you were to do these things? You could just put it right there on the screen. So if you were to take drugs or do alcohol, what might happen to you? There's lots of different things that could happen. If somebody smokes, what might happen to them? I want to get at least, we have a small group in here, but I want to get at least 3 things for each one of these. Cancer, 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 yes, can lead to cancer. I'm just going to move some of these around so that they're a little bit more organized. Okay, can I please get a volunteer for that last column? Death. Yes, death would be the worst thing that could happen, but yes, death can happen from all of these. All of these can definitely kill you. All right. Yes, you can go to jail if you do drugs. You can die from overdosing. Okay, get kicked out of school, get kicked out of your house. Smoking can lead to cancer, lung disease, bad breath, bad teeth, yellow teeth. Bad breath is even worse. If you have unprotected sex, you might end up getting pregnant or getting an STD. STDs can lead to death. Obviously, we talked a little bit about how obesity can lead to heart disease and diabetes, cancers. And then skipping, your physicals every year, you might miss a sickness or disease that you have. You might not be staying up to date with your shots and your immunizations. Perfect. All right, so the last step is making sure you don't crack under pressure. And you guys get pressure everywhere. You get pressure from the media when you're watching TV and reading magazines. You get pressure from your friends, from your parents. You get pressure from Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. So tell me, on one side, I want you to list what are some positive pressures that you get from people. Just give me some examples of what people pressure you that you would be considered a positive thing. And then on the other side, what are some negative pressures that you might get? Okay, Abdallah, yes, that would be a good pressure. Doing well in school, studying for an exam, graduating on time is a good pressure. Trying new things, I like that. Yeah, that's definitely when you try new things, you learn about yourself and you challenge yourself. So that's would be something that's good. Being encouraging to others and helping them set goals. Mad goals, right? Mad goals. Negative ones, yes, bullying. You see people being bullied because they don't wear the clothes that other people want them to wear, or they don't act the way that other people want them to act. Um, Suicide would be another one. Hurting yourself, talking bad about someone, teasing. Yeah, you might get teased about your weight or your body image. So hopefully, I'm hoping that most of your lives are filled more with positive peer pressure. But how could you handle negative peer pressure? If your friend, came up to you and wanted you, to do drugs and threatened not to be your friend anymore, how would you react to that? Right? Tell an adult, ignore them, avoid him, right? Ask another person for advice, not be their friend. Or you can be their friend, but maybe, let them know that, hey, I'm not okay with doing drugs, and when you ask me to, I feel really bad. I feel kind of cornered. So I would love to hang out with you and be your friend, but please just leave me alone about it. You could be nice about it if you still care about the person. And then maybe you can positively pressure them to get a little bit healthier and get on, instead of just saying, oh, forget you, have a nice life. All right. Um, you also, like I mentioned, you get pressure from the media through different advertising techniques that you might see. So you do have 5 techniques that you're going to need to know: bandwagon, glittering generalities, plain folk, scientific evidence, and testimonials. Um, when you see a commercial that has like a doctor in it or says like 3 out of 4 doctors recommend this medication, what type of technique do you think that is? Right. Good. Good, good, good. So that would be scientific evidence. They're using some type of science to make you think it's important. What about if it's like a plain person like you and me? Somebody who's maybe not well known? Plain folks. Good. Awesome. So next thing I'm going to show you, I'm going to actually show you a little video. It's about a minute long. And then we just got one more slide after this, and then you're out of here. Okay. I want you to watch the video of my superhero, and then I want you to tell me at the end which of the 5 you think it is. You might need to lower your volume. So you should be watching a commercial on Spider-Man. It is playing. You might have to press play. It's a YouTube video. So here, I'm going to put it in the chat box in case you can't see it. You can click on the link in the chat box. All right, so who wants to take a stab out of these 5 choices? Which technique do you think that was that they were using with Spider-Man in it? And if you had a hard time viewing it, was just Spider-Man with water. Okay, bandwagon. Do we have any other suggestions? Okay, so everybody says bandwagon. Okay, so bandwagon is where the commercial tells you that everybody has a product and you should too. Okay, um, and not to be confused with testimonial. So testimonial is where it's somebody who's well known in the commercial. So like a superhero, an action figure, an NBA or an NFL star. Okay, so it would actually be a testimonial. All right. So just make sure, you guys review that a little bit as well. Glittering generalities, Gabby, is when they compare one product to another and there's not really any evidence. So they might say like Burger King has better fries than McDonald's. It's just they're speaking in general terms. There's no proof or anything to back that up. All right. Okay, last slide. And then just make sure to be a good superhero, you're making good decisions. Sometimes that's hard on a daily basis. Sometimes we make quick decisions and they lead us to making maybe not the right decision for us. Okay, so you're going to identify your decision, make a list. I do make a list of all the different options, evaluate each option, the pros and cons, and then choose the one that you think is best for you. And if it works out, great. And if it doesn't, then that's where you're going to learn from your mistakes, and that's part of life, and you're just going to evaluate what the outcome was and then maybe change your choice in the future. Okay, so that you're constantly making good decisions and growing from the ones that you don't make such good choices about. All right, so Samira, plain folk, we said was when it's just like an everyday person like you or me in the commercial advertising something. So they try to get you to like relate to them being like you. So if it was like another high school girl saying, that they love this new, product, that would be plain folk. All right, so congrats, you guys are done and you are now certified superheroes. So go ahead and do some good in our world. Do great on your final exam. All right. If you have any questions, I'm going to hang out here for just a few minutes, but you are free to go. There's two things that you do need to submit to your teacher to get credit for the collaboration, which are the first two assignments. You have your collaboration product, where you're going to send your notes. And then you also have the collaboration reflection, where you're going to write 4 to 5 sentences explaining what you liked and you didn't like and why it was important to collaborate with other people. Okay, and before you guys leave, I'm actually going to send you a file. And on that file, it is the final exam study guide. All right, so just give me 1 second. You should see it pop up in a few seconds. All right, so it's loading right now. When you see the file come through, it's an RTF file. Make sure you save it to like your desktop or somewhere that you're going to be able to find it. And it's just everything that we went over here. So if you wanted to kind of organize your notes a little bit better or go back and take some thorough notes, the study guide tells you everything that you need to know for the exam. Okay, and you should have gotten it saying it's complete. All right, so let me answer some of these questions real quick. So Barbara, if you wrote your note by hand, that's fine. You're just going to have to maybe take a picture of them or scan them if you want, and you're going to have to upload them to the course that way so that your teacher can get them. So Colin, good question. If you haven't done your DBAs yet, your discussion-based assessments, you can go to the Hope Help site, which is on the main page of your course. It's under your teacher's picture. And when you go in there, there's all these goodies. They're all like the class resources. Any worksheets that you need are in there. There's videos, there are samples in there, but there's also the study guide that I just sent you is in there. But there's also study guides for your discussion-based assessments so that you can prepare for them. And you can even use your notes on the phone with your teacher if that makes you more comfortable. Okay, so Abdallah, I did mention a couple times in the beginning that you needed to have notes out, so you might just want to jot some stuff down, open up that study guide, and write some information down so that you can send it to your teacher. Mohan, that's up to your teacher. You need to have all of your work done to take your exam. Okay, so you're going to want to text your teacher. If you have any assignments that you haven't done, make sure that you get them completed. But as long as all your work's done and you're happy with your grade, you can text your teacher and ask for your password. And yep, Gabby, so you're all set. So as long as you don't have any questions for me and you think you know what you need to submit to get credit, you can go. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. We went a little bit later than I planned, just because we had to review some stuff that I wasn't planning on it, but I'm glad that it happened because now I know you're going to do awesome in that part of the exam. The file name, Abdallah, that I sent you, it said V14 Segment 1 Exam Review. Have a good night. See you later. Thanks for coming. You guys are awesome.
Recording stopped.